Alrighty, so I remember coming in here feeling hopeless, contemplated bankruptcy. I was able to talk to Bianca. She gave me some tips here at Vivix Credit Solutions, and received great news today. I mean, I'm feeling blessed. Things are starting to line up. I definitely recommend it. You need to just come in, talk to them. They will help you. They help me. So I'm just excited about this new chapter. That's it.
Three different scores. The lowest 493, 496, and 476. Now, 60 days later, get ready, hold on, folks. 623, 660, and 617. Best money I ever spent in my life.
I'm very excited about finance, the way they handle my credit. It was great. On the first try, they was able to remove 63% of negative information that was on my credit history. And that was just on the first try. I'm really excited about that. So I'm looking forward to removing some more.
I got 100% on my Experian and 7 out of 9 on my TransUnion, and I'm very, very happy, and this company has helped me out tremendously.
Did a great job and got us cleared of our credit report off our credit file, and this is the outcome of it. They've taken it off our credit file, the bad credit off our credit file. That the credit card company put out there.
Only for 3 weeks with Fico Credit Solutions. And my foreclosure has been delayed forever. And I'm so happy.
Going to the program, it's helped me out. Background, I get great results. My credit scores have been up. I think that from here on out, I feel a lot better. Some things, are worth it. Some things aren't. I don't share with anyone. I think those are around here. It is affordable. They work with you, get great people here. And I think you'll be happy by the time you leave, by the time the whole program is over.
So what you were watching there, that's about 150 people that have given video testimonials about our services. We were doing written testimonials, which you can find on the internet, but we were getting a lot of pushback, people believing that those testimonials on the internet were fake. So what we decided to do was just go to the video testimonials. And now we have over 300 video testimonials, but we have on 2 testimonial reels about 150 people each. And that could have gone on for another hour and 10 minutes, so no need to go through that. So the workshop is discredit to A+ credit, potentially less denials and more approvals. I'm expecting some more people. We had about 35 RSVPs, but we're going to move on, and if they come, they come. But I don't want to hold you here too long. All right, so this is a small video that I think will really
We live in an age where much more goes on in our daily lives.
What's happening
is
on people's
monitored,
credit,
collected, and sold to interested parties. Our driving records, our medical history, our internet traffic, and most importantly, our credit information. A mistake on your credit report can cost you money. It can increase the interest you pay on your loans, prevent you from getting a mortgage or buying a car, landing a job, or getting a security clearance. It's not uncommon. A new government study to be released tomorrow indicates as many as 40 million Americans have a mistake on their credit report. 20 million have significant mistakes. And our own investigation of the credit reporting industry shows that those mistakes can be nearly impossible to get removed from your record.
The story will continue in a moment. Consumer credit reporting is a $4 billion a year industry dominated by 3 large companies, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. They keep files on 200 million Americans and traffic in our financial reputations. They make their money gathering information from people we do business with and selling it to banks, merchants, insurance companies, and employers, and they use it to make judgments about our creditworthiness and reliability. But now the reliability of the industry is being questioned in an 8-year Federal Trade Commission study to be released tomorrow. John Leibowitz is the chairman.
Here's what we found. Some pretty troubling information. 1 out of 5 Americans has an error on their credit report. And 1 out of 10 has an error on their credit report that might lower their credit score.
I'm trying to think of another industry where a 20% error rate would be acceptable. That's a pretty high error rate.
It's a pretty high error rate.
I think the more we look at this, and the more the American people know about this, the madder they're going to get.
Ohio Attorney General Mike DeWine has opened his own investigation into the credit reporting industry, which for years has blamed mistakes on banks and merchants that provide them with bad information. But DeWine argues the fault lies with the industry for what he says are clear violations of the Fair Credit Reporting Act.
Do these companies have a legal responsibility to make sure that the information is accurate?
The federal law says that if you believe that there is a mistake, you can go to them and they have an obligation to do a reasonable investigation. They're not doing a reasonable investigation. They're not doing an investigation at all.
That's right.
Every day, DeWine's office fields calls from desperate constituents who can't get the credit reporting agencies to answer their questions or correct mistakes on their report, like paid bills listed as delinquent, closed accounts listed as open, and bad debts that belong to other people with similar names or social security numbers.
The problem is not that they make mistakes, it's they won't fix the mistakes. It literally is like this, guy behind the curtain in The Wizard of Oz. You really don't know what he's doing. It really is a secret operation that is so hard to track.
8 million people a year file disputes about their credit report, which usually requires a visit to the Experian, TransUnion, or Equifax websites. They're primarily designed to sell you premium products, not resolve a dispute, which is what I was trying to do. There's a toll-free number you can call, which is likely to connect you to someone on a faraway continent.
Thank you for calling. My name is Gabriel. How may I help you? Where are you located? India. India?
But regardless of where they are or who you talk to, they won't be much help.
So really, you can't do anything for me. I've just been talking to you for 15 minutes. Yeah, I mean, the only thing you can do is to tell me to fill it out online. Yes, Mr. Crawford. Okay, thank you.
Besides the toll-free number, they also give you a post office box address where you can send a letter and documents supporting your claim. In each case, it's extremely unlikely that anyone with the authority to resolve your dispute will ever actually see it.
Ask Sandra Cortez, a Californian accountant whose credit report confused her with an international drug trafficker. It took her 5 years to get it fixed. Or David Smith, the retired Army officer, whose credit report listed a bankruptcy that wasn't his and triggered a foreclosure proceeding against his house in South Carolina. He's still dealing with the fallout. Or Judy Thomas, a trauma nurse with a horror story worthy of Hitchcock or Kafka.
There's nobody to go to.
Nobody.
There's nobody. You just keep making phone calls and you just keep writing disputes and you keep sending them your social security number and they don't care.
Thomas, who manages 2 medical centers near Cleveland, says it all began in 1999 when she went shopping for a new dress and applied for a store credit card to get a 15% discount. She was denied.
Was that the first time you'd ever been denied credit?
Yes, very first time. Ever.
But certainly not the last. It became a regular occurrence. The personal credit reports she got from Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax were all clean and without blemish. Yet she kept getting rejected and couldn't find out why.
I would get a consumer report and it would look fine. I would go to the bank and they would tell me, oh no, you have all this debt. But no one would tell me what was on it.
They wouldn't tell you what the debt was. And they wouldn't give you a copy of the report that they had.
No.
It took Judy Thomas several years to discover what almost no one knows, that the credit reports the agencies send to you are different than the ones they sell to banks, merchants, and mortgage brokers.
That's true. The reports that they give to you are consumer reports that come from the credit bureaus. And the reports that they give to the vendors or the creditors are credit reports. Okay?
Found that out when a loan officer left her file on his desk and walked out of the room.
And what did she see?
I saw debt from Utah Medical Center. I saw debt from a veterinarian clinic in Utah. I saw collections for a Judith Kendall.
Judith Kendall, not Judy Thomas.
Correct.
What's going through your mind?
What the hell is she doing on my credit report? What the hell is her debt doing on my credit report?
You think this would be very simple to get straightened out?
You would think. Yeah, you would think. This is my Judy Thomas versus Judith Kendall file.
Instead, it became a 6-year battle with credit agencies requiring box loads of correspondence to try and prove that she was Judy Thomas, not Judith Kendall. All to no avail.
You had a lot of time invested in this. How important are these documents?
It's my life.
There are logs of daily phone calls to dispute centers, hundreds of letters to Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, even correspondence from Judith Kendall's creditors in Utah, acknowledging that the debts on her credit report are hers.
I would get letters back from these companies saying this, in fact, is not you.
You still couldn't get it off your credit report?
No, I sent copies to the credit bureaus, and they would come back as mine. Verified. Verified. I also hired a local attorney to try and straighten it out. We had everything certified, that this is Judy Thomas, this is where I live. I've never gone by the name of Kendall. I've never even been to Utah, let alone owing a cable company in Utah.
And what happened?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing.
What kind of problems did this cause for you?
I couldn't refinance. I couldn't take advantage of the interest rates. I couldn't get a car. I couldn't co-sign for my children's student loans. And I worked hard for my credit. And these people were taking it away from me.
Finally, Judy Thomas took the only recourse available to her. She sued Equifax and TransUnion in federal court, and after a year-long battle, the credit reporting agency settled for an undisclosed sum and promised to clean up her file.
Did you think it was going to take a federal lawsuit?
Heck no, it just takes a human being going, wow, this isn't Judith Kendall, let me fix this. That's all they had to do.
But as we discovered, that almost never happens.
If you challenge a credit report and mail your information to a post office box in the United States, the dispute will likely be investigated in India or the Philippines or South America. We traveled 5,000 miles to the Chilean capital of Santiago, where we tracked down 3 former Experian employees.
Carolina Herrera, Rodolfo Carrasco, and Enzo Valdivia were all dispute agents at Experian's National Consumer Assistance Center, although they say they weren't able to offer consumers much assistance.
So if somebody had a problem with their credit report, they would send in a complaint and it would end up with you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So how many of these did you have to do a day?
90.
90. Yeah.
Did you consider yourself investigators?
No.
Did you have any way to investigate these claims?
No, we didn't. You can call the person.
You can't pick up the phone and call?
No.
Did you have phones?
No.
No.
Did you email them?
No.
Did you have the authority to say, wait a minute, after looking at somebody's file and say that, this is somebody made a mistake, this person doesn't owe this money?
We didn't have that power.
All they did was read the disputes and reduce them to a 2-digit code like never late or not mine. It was then sent with a 2 or 3 line summary and no documentation back to the bank or department store that furnished the original information.
Sent through electronic text message. It's through a machine called eOscar. So it's not a letter. It's not something that can go in detail. It's the extent of sending a text message through a machine called eOscar.
It's an opinion between the creditor and the person who was filing the complaint. How was it usually resolved in favor of the creditor?
Yeah. The creditor was always right.
Always right.
For record, the word of the bank. If the bank said, hey, this guy owns $100, so it is.
None of us have ever interviewed anybody in Chile from Experian. And we've got a federal court ordering them to bring these people forward, and we're still waiting.
Much of what's known about the inner workings of the consumer credit agencies come out of lawsuits filed by Len Bennett and Sylvia Goldsmith.
This is about 2 more minutes.
Subpoenaed company records and deposed employees and executives. They say under the current system, there is no way for people like Judy Thomas to get their problem solved.
So all these people who take the time to meticulously document a case that the bill isn't theirs or the bill has been paid, that is never seen by anybody?
It's not seen by anyone who considers it in determining whether or not information will be removed from a credit report.
It's not forwarded on to the person who has the complaint with you?
No, it's never forwarded on. Never forwarded on.
Never.
To the creditor.
We can get a jury verdict for $1 million. That's chump change to some of these bureaus. They would rather pay a verdict in $1 million than to actually go in and change the policies and procedures that they have, because that's much more expensive to them.
I can say this without qualification. To dispute procedures used by the credit reporting agencies, uniformly used, completely fail to comply with the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Courts have found that. The Federal Trade Commission has found that. It's not even a close call.
Ohio Attorney General Mike DeWine agreed.
I think the industry's a mess, and I think the impact it has on real people is just unconscionable.
You think they're breaking the law?
I think they're breaking the law. There's no doubt in my mind they're breaking the law.
We wanted to talk to Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian, but like most consumers, we were unsuccessful. The agencies referred us to the spokesman for their lobbying group in Washington. He too declined our request for an on-camera interview, but did provide a written statement citing an industry-sponsored survey that showed 95% of its customers were satisfied with the dispute process.
Industry-sponsored survey.
The maintains it's in compliance with federal law.
So they probably only asked people that were happy with it. So let's just review it. 40 million mistakes. These are the problems. A fifth of Americans have errors on their credit reports. A tenth have errors that affect their credit score. 8 billion people a year file disputes, and the call centers are located out of the country, so you can't subpoena people back to the states. All right. The credit reports are sent to the consumer, are different than the credit reports that the lenders have, because the credit reports that the lenders have are actually credit reports. The ones that you have are consumer reports. Okay. And the credit reports are the ones that determine if you're going to be approved or denied. The consumer reports are just for your edification. All right? The dispute agents are not able to call, email the consumers, or even ask questions about the disputes. The disputes are reduced to a 2 to 3 digit code. Okay? And the credit bureaus always side against the consumer. All right? And the dispute procedure used by the credit bureaus failed to comply with the federal law, the Fair Credit Reporting Act. That's the problem. That's the issues that many of you, as well as I, have had in my life, and that's the reason why credit repair is a legal business, to have an advocate for you file these disputes on your behalf. Now, anything that I'm going to say in here, I'm required to tell you this, I'm not an attorney. I'll sound like an attorney from time to time, but that's just my expert opinion for me doing this 11 years. So please, don't believe that I'm an attorney. Anything that I'm saying in here is my opinion, okay? This is what we have guaranteed that virtually every client that goes through our program will receive. I want to tell you the end result before we go through the whole presentation, all right? The average client has received 90 points in 90 days. And the average client has received 50 to 90% deletion in 120 days, okay? So we have a pretty good handle on how to do the disputing process. There's just a couple little nuances you have to know, and I'll tell you one now. If you dispute without adding a fraud alert or security alert to your file will not be escalated past these people that you just saw that said they can't make a phone call, they can't ask questions, they can't send supporting documentation. To get to the group of people that can do that, you have to add a fraud alert or a security alert. They're the same. One is for 90 days, okay? And that is the standard. And then you have an extended alert, which is for like 7 years. I recommend that if you have children, add fraud alerts to your children's files, because they're not going to be using their credit for 13, 14, 15 years, but someone will be using their credit for them for 13, 14, 15 years if you don't protect their credit. You can secure their credit with a phone call and add an extended fraud alert. Elderly, people like your parents that don't intend to use their credit, put a security alert on their file. And even if you are not using your own credit, put a security alert with a PIN number. So whenever someone needs to access your file, like a creditor, a car dealership, a bank, you give them the PIN number. And without the PIN number, they cannot access your file. So that's one measure that you can take. And that's the next level of getting your file from general laborers at the credit bureaus to the fraud department, okay? So that's one of the tips that she didn't have. She was talking with them, filing with them. The online disputing is the way they herd you into their portal to offer you services and to give you multiple choice to dispute. And the multiple choice disputes, once you're in their portal, their computer system handles those disputes. All right? Okay. So potentially every client that signs up will receive 90 points in 90 days, or virtually 50 to 90% deletion in 120 days. All right? These are what some of the clients have said, and I'm going to push through rather quickly.
Gabriel, I find this hard to believe. You can take someone who's got poor credit and potentially, not potentially, that's what I want to believe, but I've seen the proof. You take their credit score and raise it 10 to 50 points.
Feels really good. My scores have never been this high.
My credit score has increased to 136 points.
They also raised my credit score about 100 points.
I came in here with probably 400 credit scores. It was awful, but right now I'm in the low 700s.
And this is not over a long period. That's amazing.
I was able to buy my house, and my credit score was 7 before.
The help that Vivix provided, I was very satisfied.
I feel that you guys are excellent. Anybody that have problem with credit, they should come and see you guys.
Where do I go to learn more about your systems?
You can go to our website where I have some free gifts there, valued at about $500, and a downloadable credit education guide.
Wow. Okay.
Now those were real people. As I said, we have 300 plus of those testimonials for you. And 100, 200, 300 points you saw many of those people saying they had received from a 4-month program. Unlike many of these other companies, they tell you it takes 12 to 18 months to fix your credit. You'll have 2 birthdays in their program. All right? We say you should only have 4 to 5 months to work on your credit. There's only 4 provisions of the law. They were talking about the law there, the Fair Credit Reporting Act and the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. The 4 provisions are this. If anything on your credit report is inaccurately reported, anything, how you doing, sir? Have a seat wherever you like, wherever you like. If anything on your credit report is inaccurately reported, whether you rightfully owe it or not, tax lien, bankruptcy, foreclosure, child support, anything, short sale, if it's on your credit report and it's inaccurately reported, the law says it must be deleted, even if you rightfully owe it. Okay? Rightfully owe it. All right? This all came about because the federal government did a full investigation of Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion in 1970. And they found that 79% of everyone had inaccurate information on their credit reports. Unlike what you saw here where it said 20%. It's 79% according to the actual investigation report. So they created the Consumer Protection Law, the Fair Credit Reporting Act, to combat the credit bureaus and the creditors for joining against the consumers. The reason why the credit bureaus will not respond to you and take the creditor's word is because the creditor pays the credit bureau a monthly fee for every account that they report about you, whether it's in good standing or bad standing. All right? But because when it's in bad standing, the creditors get a chance to give you a high interest rate when you come to borrow from them. So they prefer to keep the bad standing on your report, but you'll see the good standing accounts will disappear just like they're supposed to every 7 years. They'll just fall off your report because they want you to not have a reference there of the good credit. But they'll leave the bad credit on your record indefinitely when the law says it should be removed in 7 to 10 years. You see the game they're playing? They want the interest rate. That's what they want. Okay? The second part of the law is if anything on your credit report is unverifiable, whether you rightfully owe it or not. If the creditors cannot verify it, or the credit bureaus cannot verify the debt, or verify that it's your debt, it must be deleted. Okay? The third law is if anything on your credit report is questionable, you ask questions about it, and the creditors or the credit bureaus cannot answer the questions in a timely manner, which is 30 days, that information must be deleted, whether you rightfully owe it or not. Okay? And then the fourth and final provision of the law that protects you, if any of your information on your credit report is obsolete, older than the statute of limitation for the state that the debt originated in. The federal law is 7 to 10 years, but I'm going to show you here, and I have it in your packets as well. You have about $900 in gifts in your packets of credit repair stuff that you can do on your own. But if your debt is older than the statute of limitation for the state that it originated in, you no longer owe the debt. Some of you are negotiating debts that you don't owe anymore. If you're in North Carolina, you no longer owe the debt after 3 years. And there's people that are following the federal law 7 to 10 years. Okay? So know the state law as well. All right. If you're going to go to a credit service organization, please make sure they're licensed. There's so many pretenders out here in the city of Las Vegas. This is a city of smoke and mirrors. If you put Credit Repair Las Vegas in on the internet, you will find 70 plus companies holding themselves out to be credit repair companies, and only 22 of them have licenses, and only 11 have a physical location in the state of Nevada. So you got over 60 plus companies pretending. And this state is very, very strict on running people out of business and into prison for pretending to do credit repair and not having a license. You can't do this just because you're a nice person. You can't do this because you're a realtor. You can't do this because you're a mortgage professional. You can't do this because you're a banker. You can't do this because you're an accountant. You can't do this because you're a car salesman. You can't do this because you just know how to do it. You can only do this when you're licensed and bonded. All right? Now, the license for a credit service organization in Clark County ends with .255. So if you're talking to anyone and they have not proven to you that they have a license, you need to pull back, don't pay them any money, because let me tell you, everybody out here is looking for $49, $59, $69, $79 a month, and you're falling for that trap. There's not a doctor on the planet that will change your life for $49, $59 a month. So how can you go get credit repair that will change your life for $49, $59 a month? You know why they're doing that? Because you're easy to let $49, $59 come out your account for 2 years before you finally wake up and say, oh, what's going on, right? But if I tell you here it's a little bit pricier, but you'll be finished in 4 months, and I can prove to you in these proof books all around the office, proof books behind you, we have an entire office with just proof in it, right? And if I tell you should only have to do credit repair one time, not go to 4 or 5 companies, I would pay a little bit more. I pay a little bit more when I go to Neiman Marcus versus when I go to Target. I do. I pay a little bit more when I go to Macy's, right? Okay, so make sure that they're licensed. Make sure that they have a bond. Some companies out here that are still licensed don't have a bond. The state has a registration of the bonds. It's through the mortgage lending division where you can find that out, right? Make sure that they're certified in something a little bit more than they just know about credit. I can train any of you in here to be a credit expert in 90 days. 90 days. There's not a question in here that anybody could ask me about credit that I couldn't answer. Right? That's what I should do. If I ask you something about what you do, you'll have the answers, right? So I'm not that smart. I've been doing this 11 years. But I'm also FICO certified. Okay, my certification, it was up here, they moved it back out front. Everyone in this office has a FICO certification. It's a 3.5-hour exam that FICO gives before they say you are certified, and you must pass it with an 80 or better. Okay, and we all have those certifications. All right, we're a member of the National Association of Credit Service Organizations. That's huge. That's a group of attorneys that have vowed to run out pretender credit repair companies. They're running them out of business. And then they're going after the companies, vetting the companies that they believe do good business and saying, join our association, and then let's pool our money together, and we're going to go out and go after the companies that are pretending, and we're going to go to the attorney generals in all the states and have those companies that are in those states run out of business. And we're a member of that National Association of Credit Service Organizations. We're the only one in the city and the state of, the city of Las Vegas and the state of Nevada that's a member, okay? We're accredited with the Better Business Bureau. We're a member of the Ethical Credit Repair Alliance, the Greater Las Vegas Association of Realtors. I like that. We partnered with them. They had 33,000 realtors when it was in their heyday in 2005. And now they have about 12,000. They liked our services so much, so many realtors enjoyed it. Is that what it is? Okay. So many realtors enjoyed our services that guess what? The word got around the GLADAR. All right. Miss Kathy, what's her name? Krista Baker. She sent us this nice letter saying that it was 12,000 realtors. They were going to put us on their website and recommend that all the realtors bring their clients to us. All right? And we've done really well with the realtors in this town. They really respect us. They really respect the fact that we're on Sahara and Buffalo when everybody else is on Sahara and Boulder, or out so far in Henderson that you need GPS on your phone and in your car to find where their offices are. Okay? Clark County Education Association. That's something I took pride in. All right? I do financial literacy workshop for the babies. All right? The babies are 17, 18-year-olds. Okay? Or anyone under 25, they're the babies. All right? And I go into the schools and I teach them because nobody taught me. I had 3 credit cards when I was 18 on my way into college. My mama didn't even know until she started seeing the bills. Okay? My mama didn't know. My daddy was a pastor. He didn't believe in debt. My grandfather was a pastor. So I'm steeped. I'm from the South. I'm a Southern boy. So I grew up around a bunch of pastors. All right? So they didn't believe in a lot of credit, but no one taught me about credit. So now I go into the schools and I teach financial literacy to the babies. All right? And we're a member of the Las Vegas Chamber of Commerce. Okay? I'm passionate. I apologize if I'm talking loud, but I really enjoy what I do. I was homeless when I got this job, living in the park in 215 in Town Center. I moved from the East Coast without a plane. Anybody want to hear my story? Can I have permission to give a little bit of my story? Yeah, okay. So I was on the East Coast. I was doing really well. You know, my father was a pastor, grandfather was a pastor. I had a little scripture in me, but I didn't want to be a preacher. I ran into a Reverend Ike tape when I was too young. My dad was, had a Reverend Ike tape, and I heard Reverend Ike say he didn't know how many Rolls Royces he had. And I was like, what kind of man got too many Rolls Royces? So I started listening to Reverend Ike behind my daddy's back. Okay? And Ernest Ainsley, he was another one of the good pastors I liked, but I fell in love with Reverend Ike. He had on nice flashy suits and pulled up in Rolls Royces to the church, teaching prosperity. Okay? And my daddy was saying, everything worldly was bad. So I found another take on it. And so I ended up going to getting a degree in finance to try to learn how to handle money. Okay? But prior to doing that, my daddy was a baggage boy at a grocery store for 18 years. 18 years he bagged groceries in a suit and tie until multiple sclerosis took him down and he couldn't work. He was wheelchair bound. So at 31, my mother took a job for the first time in her life. My daddy married her when he was 16, met her at a bus stop. And he married her. She was 16, he was 18. And they were married till he died in 2001. And when my mom took a job, she was cleaning houses for a living. And she got a job with 2 doctors and 1 attorney. And I was about 7, 8 years old, and she would always take me with her because my 2 older brothers were heroin addicts. They were in the streets. They started from, just like it wasn't PE when they told you start from marijuana, then it goes from marijuana to drinking, then from drinking, next thing you know, you're doing heavier drugs. So they were heroin addicts. And my mom didn't want to lose me because I was born in the projects. We lived in a house that was about 600 square feet, 6 of us, my mother, my father, and my 3 brothers. So she would take me to these doctors and lawyers' houses, and I couldn't believe people lived like that. They had 15,000 square foot on average. One doctor was a cardiologist, had 2 houses, a beach house, and then a house, in the city. And my mom would take me to these houses. They had 3- and 4-car garages, 9 bathrooms, 13 bedrooms, a dining room, a formal dining room, a library. And because I was a young 7, 8-year-old kid hanging out in their house, and they had mostly daughters, and you know how that worked. So the first thing they would do when I broke the threshold is herd me on with them. Come on, son. I couldn't hang out with the, okay. So I would go into the library, and the first thing they would ask me is, what do you want to be when you grow up? And because my daddy was a manager, a baggage boy at a grocery store, I said I wanted to be a manager of a grocery store. I wanted to do, you know, you want to be what your daddy is, right? And they said, oh, sure, you can do better than that. So for a while, for a few years, I thought they were talking down against my dad. Sure, you can do better than that. Until finally it just started sinking in, and I started assessing how much they had and how little we had. And I started thinking, wow, can I really be a doctor? And then the lawyer would always tell me, you can be a lawyer. And I would start going into the community saying, I'm going to be a lawyer and I'm going to be a doctor, depending on how I felt. And that kind of changed my trajectory. It changed the way I was thinking about myself. My friends laughed at me, right? One of the doctors taught me how to play tennis. My friends are laughing at me because I'm, you know, I'm in the ghetto, I'm on the tennis courts, right? He said you can get in college a lot sooner, all right? Full ride, because, you know, my handle wasn't that great. I was good at football, but I wasn't exceptional. So I played tennis in high school, right? Still play to this day. So anyway, after some years went by, talking with the doctors and lawyers, I decided I wanted to go to college. And so I was the first in my family to graduate from college with a degree in finance. Not only did the attorney and the doctors convince me to go to college, but the attorney said that you need to do a little bit more. You got to become student government president. So I then went on to become the business manager of student government, and then I ran to be student government president. And so next thing I know, I got something inside of me where I feel I can be great. All those little steps started building me up. Okay, fast forward, ended up meeting my sweetheart and having a little baby with her. I went on to graduate school and she called me. She said she was pregnant. We had that one last meeting before she went to graduate school and I went to graduate school. So I ended up having to come to Washington, D.C. where she was to be with her and the baby. And moved in together with her, tried to make it work. We had a little girl, and I got into the promotion business. I got into managing models. I had 47 models working for me. I wasn't pimping. Don't look at me like that. Okay, I was not pimping. Okay, I was taking girls, giving them comp cards. My company was called Video Promotion Inc. I was getting them comp cards, and I was taking them to all the clubs, moving them around for the happy hour, and the Spirit girls, the Budweiser girls, the vodka girls, and put on the uniforms. And I was really good with all the promoters, and I would charge for 3 hours. 3 hours, start from 4 to 7 for happy hour, 7 to 10, 10 to 1, and 1 to 4. Okay? And I was doing really good, really well. I was like a Zoolander of my community. I had the best rides, the best clothes, lived in a penthouse on Wisconsin Avenue. I was doing it. And one day I was standing in the club, and I'm going to speak up. I'm standing in the club, and I had a bottle of Moet White Star in my hand. I wasn't good at drinking it. It was just a show. It's a $20 bottle of champagne, but they charged me $150 in the club, and I'm walking around really with a Christian Dior outfit on, a David Yurman choker, a David Yurman bracelet, a Cartier Santos watch, and a carat princess cut in each ear. I'm almost living that, right? I got the picture. And I was standing in the club, and I saw behind the veil for just a moment. I saw that people were shape-shifting. Their faces started looking evil. And it scared me. And I thought maybe somebody put something in my drink. And I shook my head. What was that? And I'm looking at people, and they look like they had, you see the movie The Advocate? Consumer Advocate? And it looked like demons. I'm sorry, I'm getting off. Okay. So I thought my daddy and my granddaddy had prayed to have the veil open because my grandmama named me Gabriel. And they knew I was going to be a preacher. So I said, hold on, the Lord is showing me something. So I left the club, gave my company away, went to my penthouse, and I said, I'm not hanging out with these kind of people no more. I don't want to do this no more. So I spent 4.5 years. The next 4.5 years, I spent trying to reinvent myself in Barnes & Noble. I read everything I could get my hands on. I went there from 9 in the morning to 10 at night. I decided to do what I saw my dad and my granddaddy doing. They stayed with books. They stayed teaching people. So I wanted to make up for that. So I read the Gilgamesh Epics, the Arthur Hassett, the Enuma Elish, the Tablets of Adapa, the Book of the Dead, the Coming Forth by Day, the Emerald Tablets. Okay? I read so much that I was walking and talking with the Holy Spirit. I read the Holy Tablets. I was talking to people about Planet Risk and the Anunnakis, and people were like, "What is he talking about?" You know, I was talking about the reptilians, the grays, the fluoroids, Sirius A and Sirius B. Okay, so anyway, I ended up finding myself a little too smart to pay my bills, and I got evicted. Everything I owned, I lost. I was living on the streets for about 2 or 3 weeks, moved back in with my mama in Virginia, stayed with her about 2 months until mama put me out. Now when my mama put me out, it broke my heart, because I thought I could stay at my mama's house until I figured out who was who. Because all this information I had, I needed to sort it out. And my mama said, "Nope, you gotta go back out. You be the man that your daddy, I raised you to be." So I took a one-way trip to Vegas without a plan. Took back a pair of True Religion jeans and Nordstroms and arrived here June 5th, 2005. Touched down in the summer and was homeless, walking the streets. Okay? So, that's what happened to me. And I ended up getting this job, and it's the longest job I've ever had. I've been here 10.5 years. Okay? After being here on my 10th year, I decided to give back. So I wrote my first book, which I consider my second born. It's called From Homeless to Blackcards. I had gone from homeless, walked into this office homeless, educated myself about what they do, and got involved in the credit repair program. After 6 months of being in the program, I went from a 486 with 47 negative accounts, 2 repossessions, eviction, child support, 13 major credit cards, 11 department store cards, 11 parking tickets, some utility bills, some cell phone bills, and I went to the emergency room 3 times. Thought I was having heart attacks. I was having anxiety attacks. When you start to lose everything, you start to have anxiety. You don't like losing. You only like winning. And when I started losing everything, I ended up just feeling destitute. And so when I got this job, I really got to pirate the information. The sales department is separate from processing, and I ended up working here a year, not knowing how they did the letters. And after seeing all the people get deletions that I had influenced to get in the program, I said, my goodness, I'm sitting here with bad credit, but I'm helping people get better credit. So I ended up getting in the program. And in 6 months, they took me from a 400 to a 715. And through the training that they gave me on credit rebuilding and credit coaching, I ended up being an 806 in the next 8 months. I've been an 800 credit score since 2009. I now live at the city center. I'm on the highest floor that they allow me to be on. So I'm not in a penthouse. I'm not in a penthouse. I got everything back. I got Blackcards. Not one. That'll make me a one-hit wonder. I got 2. Okay? All right? Because I'm an example of what I present to you. I'm not here just to influence you or close you on something. I'm here to give you some information, and there you go. I'm really here to give you some information where you can take this and go away for free. All right? So the first book was 46 questions that I've been asked in 10 years. And I give a copy to everyone that comes here, because some people can't afford it, but some people can't get out their own way. I worked here for a whole year, but I believe karma wasn't going to give me good credit. I believe that when I crossed my dad and my granddaddy, because they believed on me. They believed on me. And when I crossed them, you know, you cross old timers, man, you don't cross somebody. And so I believed that I wouldn't have good karma. So when I got my credit back, I said, okay, I'm going to spend the rest of my time here teaching people how to get it for themselves. And that's what From Homeless to Blackcard is. It's a credit education guide to help you get back your credit without paying anybody. The next book I wrote was Creating Customers for Life, because a lot of people that came here was losing their shirts because they couldn't create any more customers. The economy was bad, they didn't know how to get customers, and I wrote that book for them because I was a good marketer when I was in the business on the East Coast. There's some guerrilla marketing tactics that most aristocrats don't use. And I have those, okay? And I put that in that book. And then I wrote a book about how I felt. See, the 2 books here were for the people. This one was for me. That's why this workshop is called Discredit to A+ Credit, because I felt discredited. When I had bad credit, I felt like nobody appreciated me. Everything had to be an application. Nobody cared about if you were a good person or not. Fill this form out and let me do your background check. And your background check includes your credit report, your criminal history, all that. So I felt discredited. Okay? So I wrote that book to just tell people, I know how you feel. I was homeless, I had it all, I lost it all, okay? And here I am now, an example of what you can get back. And that's what that book's about. And then this over here, this DVD, I'm gonna speed up. I picked that up off of one of my mentors, Joel Bauer, a mentor of mine. And that's my business card. The DVD is about 25 customers that are speaking highly of me, and everything on the front and the back is reviews from Google. And that's what I give out as my business card when I go out to market to real estate companies, mortgage companies, okay? All right, let's speed up. These are some of the credit cards I had in my pocket when I landed here from the East Coast. They were all bad, but they made me feel good. And when I was in the casinos, before they could put me out or something, I would at least have a card in my hand like I was gonna buy something or was looking to buy something, because I would sleep in front of Pure, I would sleep in Dre's, okay? I would hang out at the Binions, okay, Sahara's. I would hang out, and if they ever questioned me, I would tell them I was tired, but I was going to go get something to eat, and I would pull out a credit card or something. All those cards were bad. American Express Gold, American Express Green, Bank of America Platinum, Chevy Chase, Nordstrom, Neiman Marcus, SunTrust, Bloomingdale, Circuit City Hex. I even had a Gucci card because I got a job at Gucci for 2 months, thinking that, you know, I could do that, and it didn't work. And that's only half of the cards. I still have those, but I had even more than that. I had 47 cards when I touched down here. I got all those back. My credit score was a 486. Yeah, I was a 486. 6 months after being in the program, I was a 715, 745, 628, 712. About 14 months, I was at 810, 843, 816. I've been 800s ever since. And I love it. And I'll tell you some techniques to keep your scores high. I'll tell you some things that you all wouldn't want to do. You wouldn't want to do it. You'll say, that's crazy. I had 49 credit cards, if you don't count the American Expresses, which are charge cards. And I'll give you a tactic right now. Why would someone need 47 credit cards? Isn't that ridiculous? Well, I mean, I was poor coming up. So when I lost everything, I said, when I get it back, I'm going to collect everything they give me. And I'm going to use it wisely. I only use 2 cards, my Platinum American Express and my Black Card. Okay? Now what I'll do, I'll charge on my American Express, and I owe it in, what, 30 days. I'll take the balance from my American Express, and I'll have my Bank of America Platinum card pay it off. I was going to pay it anyway because I had to have the cash. Then I'll take the cash that I was going to give American Express and pay off Bank of America. Then I'll get 45 days because once I transfer that balance to Bank of America's cycle is normally about 30 days. And if you know your payment cycles, you know how to run them. Then I'll charge again on my American Express. Then I'll have Wells Fargo pay that off. Then when Wells Fargo bill come in, I pay the Wells Fargo off in full. Okay? Go back to my American Express, charge what I'm going to charge, have Chase Sapphire pay it off. Then when Chase Sapphire bill come in, I pay Chase in full. Okay? Do that until I run it through all of my credit cards, and I'm still only using 2 cards because I'm paying off the American Express every month, and I'm carrying a balance with my Black card. So I'm getting a double dip for my money. But you don't have time to do that, okay? You don't have time to do that. That's silly to the average. But to me, that's running one payment on one card through 47 other cards, okay? And then, how many car loans does the average person have in a lifetime? I'm gonna just give y'all some tips now because I feel y'all want it. How many car loans does the average person? 3 or 4, that's correct. Right? How many do you pay off in a lifetime? Maybe 1, okay? See, you guys are doing it wrong. I have 3 cars. Let me tell you what you need to do. You get that car loan for 5 years, 6 years, 7, whatever you can do. In 12 months, you refinance that car. I had the car financed with Porsche Financial. My Porsche's in the back, right? Porsche Financial, 12 months, I financed it with Chase. Drop my term and my payment by 1 year, and drop my payment by 12 months of payments because now my balance owing is less. Finance it with Chase, right? Pay Chase for 12 months. Then take the loan to Bank of America, refinance it. Pay Bank of America for 12 months. Then take the loan to US Bank and refinance it. Each time I refinance it for 12 months less. So my 5-year loan, every year go by, I refinance 4 years with the next bank. 1 more year go by, I refinance 3 years with the next bank. 1 more year go by, I refinance 24 months with the next bank. 1 more year go by, I refinance 12 months with the next bank. So I got 5 car loans for 1, and I did that with 3 cars. Now I got 15 car loans, excuse me, I got 12. 12 are paid in full, and I'm still paying on the same 3 cars I would have paid for 5 years anyway. But now I got every bank in town loving me. And they're sending me pre-approvals to get another loan because they don't like the fact that I took the loan from them. And they don't know that you paid it off with another bank. All it shows on your credit report is that it was paid off. You see that? I just gave you 2 techniques that I don't like to give. Okay? All right? I got 4 of those. Okay? You have a comment? I'll answer a question with you.
No, I'm saying you can't do that with bad credit.
Right. Right. You can't do it with bad credit, but you can do it once you get your credit to average. Once you get your credit to average. I didn't go from just a 400 credit score I went to 407, right? But I still lost a lot of credit because I had a lot of stuff deleted that was the references. So my first car loan had a higher interest. That's why I paid for 12 months and went back and got another one, okay? And it got easier and easier, all right? Let's go. These are the actual reports. The things that I highlighted are things that were deleted from my credit reports. I got my actual file right there. That stack of papers is all the activity that it took to clean my credit report here at this company. None of you have had worse credit than me, and none of the people you know. And now, none of you have better credit than me, and 99% of the people you know. How do I know that? I've been standing here for 10.5 years waiting to be tested. I've been on the radio, and I'm not bragging. I'm trying to inspire you. I've been on the radio for 3 years suggesting to any credit service organization, employee, business owner that doesn't have better credit than 99% of their clients that show up in their office, they shouldn't be holding themselves out as a credit expert. That's right. Yes or no? Anybody agree? Yes or no? Okay. All right. That's my MasterClass. This is my experience. Look at all those deletions. I cried when that happened. 2 repos, evictions, Neiman Marcus, Saks, Nordstrom's, Hex, American Express. I cried when that, look, can you imagine seeing that many deletions on one report? Those are all different reports. I got a 99% deletion of my experience. I'm never going back. Okay? That's my TransUnion. This page had a back page to it. I had that much bad credit on the back page as well. Okay? And that was 180 days of work. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about some good stuff. The FBI says the #1 crime in America is identity theft. You all don't understand that when you give your driver's license and social security card and proof of your address to a credit repair company or to any company, you've given them your identity and they have to keep that on file. These credit repair companies charge you $29, $39, $49 a month. You know, I respect it, I really do. But I'm just wondering, where are your results? Where are your proof books? Where are your Blackcards? Where are the things that you're using as tools to show the people that it works? I often feel that some of these companies are just collecting information on a thumb drive to go out of business a year later, and you'll see them in Cabo, Mexico, or Ibiza, Spain, or Europe somewhere in Singapore, and you don't know how they came up, the way they came up. But guess what? 1,000 driver's licenses and social security cards on the black market is worth millions. Millions, okay? And we get good color copies of your stuff because we got to send it month after month to the credit bureaus. Okay? In this office, we have no hard copies. Everything is scanned and the rest is shredded. All right? Some of these other companies where you go and their offices, you know, are about the size of this boardroom and it's a one-man shop, and because they say $19 a month, you say, okay, driver's license, social, utility bill, your whole identity. And then if they tell you to smile and take a picture, you'll stand and smile and take another picture for them. Okay? Be careful. The fraud alert you must put on your files, please, people. Please put it on your children's files. Please put it on your own file. The initial one is 90 days. The extended one is 7 years. If you have family members that are in active duty, please have them put fraud alerts on their credit reports while they're out of the country. And did you know if they're out of the country, active duty, they can't be evicted from their homes, they can't be foreclosed on. Any negative accounts that they get during the time that they're serving the country has to be reversed back to good standing? Did you know that? Yes, yes, that's the truth. These are some of the companies that have had security breaches, and you think that you don't have a problem. Oh, I don't use my credit a lot. I don't apply for stuff. I only do it when I need it. That's what you say. Right? But guess what? These companies were hacked, and you did some business with some of these companies. If you haven't done any business with the IRS, shame on you. Okay? And if you don't have any insurance, Experian or T-Mobile. T-Mobile got more coverage than any other mobile company, and they got hacked for saying how much coverage they had. Okay, the Office of Personnel Management, Verizon, Wendy's. Who's never used their credit card or debit card at Wendy's? I was just there yesterday. Blue Cross Blue Shield, Harvard University. Well, okay, we don't have to worry about them. We ain't been to Harvard yet. Okay, Army National Guard, Target. Come on, Target. How many of us been in Target with a debit card? Home Depot. I spelled it like I say it, Depot. I ain't put the T on it. You see the T's not there. FBI's portal, Trump Hotel, Sands, CVS, Walgreens, UCLA, just a few. Just a few. And if you've been to any of those companies, Neiman Marcus, Saks, Nordstrom's, all of them have been hacked, you are at risk of also having your information exposed. These are the 4 options you have for credit repair. These are the 4 things you can do if you want to repair your credit. Just do nothing for 7 or 10 years. Just 7 or 10 years. That ain't true. That ain't true. Clients are in here with bankruptcies that are 15 years old and can't understand why it's not deleted automatically. Okay? They have collections 10 years old. Why it's not deleted automatically? Because what happens, one collection agency, when it gets close to the expiration of statute of limitation, they sell it to another one. Unbeknownst to them, they say, hey, you want to buy a pool of my accounts? I got $100,000 worth of accounts where I have driver's license, good socials, good information, intel on. I'll sell you $100,000 of accounts for $5,000, $10,000. That's how the collection agencies do it. And they buy in bulk, and your file's in that bulk, and your expiration expired. statute of limitations expired, but they put it right back on your account because there's a person that does data entry that just adds you to the credit bureau through e-Oscar, the electronic machine. All right, they just type it in and send that message to the credit bureaus, and your file is updated with the credit bureaus instantly. But they'll tell you it takes 30 to 45 days to remove an inaccurate, okay, accounting of your relationship with them. They can do it instantly if they go to the e-Oscar machine. All right? The next thing you can do is just file bankruptcy. There's no more filing bankruptcy, people. You have to apply for bankruptcy. File is, it gives you the connotation that you just go down there and do the paperwork and it's all good. No, it's not. You have to apply for the bankruptcy. Okay? All right? Debt negotiation. That was not bad. But everybody's doing it wrong. The way you're supposed to do debt negotiation, you're supposed to call the company, tell them that you're willing to negotiate the debt for 20 cents on the dollar in exchange for a letter of intent to delete the debt. See, you're just renegotiating the debt to save money, and you're resetting the statute of limitation for the date of last activity. So the payment, when you make that last payment, or when you make that phone call, that last phone call to the company, the creditor or the collection company, you just reset the statute of limitation because that's date of last activity. If you don't know what you're doing, don't call them. Don't call them. Because they double dip when you call them, because every phone call extends the statute of limitation. So if that account was 3 years old, just because you called them, you refreshed it to the date that you made the call, and now they get another 6 to 7 years or whatever the statute for that state that the debt was originated in. They get that time again because you're fumbling on the phone. The way you need to handle that is to call them and have a credit card or debit card ready, preferably one of those cards where you just went and added some money to it, okay? Because you don't want them double dipping on you, going back in your account again. All right, so you call them, you say, I want to reduce this debt or negotiate this debt down to 20%. I'm ready to pay right now with my credit card in exchange for a letter of intent that you will delete this. Email the letter of intent to my phone right now. Once I see that the letter of intent says you will delete this in exchange for X amount of dollars, I'm going to stay on the line and give you my credit card. Okay? And then when they do that, you pay the bill. And then that letter of intent you can use to send to the credit bureaus to get it deleted, even if they don't delete it for you, the collection company. That's how you do debt negotiation. Credit repair is the best option. Because you get 4 provisions of the law that are federal. Whether you rightfully owe the debt or not, you still get those 4 provisions, and we went over them. Inaccuracy, unverifiability, questionability, and statute of limitation, obsolete. Okay? You get those. So, don't forfeit your law. Don't forfeit your rights. Yes or no? Why would you do that? I didn't. Okay? Most of our clients require only 120 days to get 50 to 90% of their accounts deleted. And we proved that. I must say virtually, I must say potentially, because those are legal terms, because if it appears that I'm saying you're going to get what everyone else got, then I misled you. So I have to say potentially or virtually all of our clients in 120 days get 50 to 90% of their accounts deleted from all 3 credit bureaus. All right? There are only 11 licensed and bonded credit repair companies in the state of Nevada that have an office. That's it. That's it. That's according to the state mortgage lending division. There's only 11. So don't think that you have a whole lot of shopping to do for credit repair companies. No, you don't. You don't. And make sure that you have the list of 11 before you go out shopping for them. We're the longest standing credit service organization in the state of Nevada. All right, and again, none of those companies have an AXO rating, and none of them, from what we can see on their websites, are FICO certified. Let's go. Hold on, my speaker went off. Let me get it back on for you. There we go. That's fine there. Let's get it back going. Listen to these people.
Motorcycle loan, student loan, and move on from a 614 all the way to a 794.
717
things on my credit. They were able to remove 89 of them.
That's the first gentleman I've known that had an airplane. That's a very powerful man there. I won't tell you who he is or his name, but he's a very powerful man here.
Just got approved for a car.
72% of my collection items and wipe them from my accounts.
So that 70% of my negative accounts deleted.
249 points increase.
213.3.
And now they deleted 122, so that's like 90%.
122 accounts. There's companies out there that charge you per delete. If they charge you $85 per deletion, that would be $8,500 just for 100. And then the 22 would be another $1,700. So that would be almost $11,000 per credit report. She would have to pay $33,000. We don't care how many negative accounts you have. You can have 122 negative accounts and we will work on all of them for a flat fee.
85% of credit to just that credit. I was able to purchase a car and take a loan.
We were able to take 50% of all my inquiries and have them deleted.
Bankruptcy, charge off, a lot of negative stuff on that. Things that include 80% of negative activity that was on my credit.
3 weeks was credit, and my foreclosure has been deleted forever, and I'm so happy.
Our foreclosure was deleted in 3 weeks. We have, yes, that's what she said, we have proof of it. I have proof, there's quite a few in all these books. There's one client in here that I know that I like to show. She had 7 foreclosures. She's an investor. She had 7 foreclosures. That's her file right there. And we got them all deleted in 30 days. We're not saying that happens for everyone, because we have to say that, but she was in the same 4-month program, okay? So that potentially can happen for you. The experiences described in these testimonials are not necessarily indicative of the results others may expect to achieve. Results will vary. I have to say that even though we have all this proof, I have to say that because of the law, okay? All right? Now, Vivix Credit Solutions is the only credit service organization in Nevada and neighboring states that has as much proof, and the proof is all around the office. Everyone on their desk has a proof book that has about 3,000 clients in it. Okay? We have more proof than some credit repair companies have had clients. Okay? All right, let's get into this. This is the last one.
Results have been good. I mean, everything that you said you were going to do, you've done so far.
And these are real people.
Work has went up.
By the first treatment, the Vivix Credit Solution removed everything out of my report. So I'm really happy, and I'm waiting to get more improvement.
Okay, I came here in January and had a really bad credit. And so far, everything's going really good. I got 60% off my credit bureau stuff, and I'm really happy.
I'm just totally shocked. I don't know. I'm happy, but really, now I can buy my wife a house that she wanted. We used to have a house, but I'm just happy. I mean, it works. I'm telling you guys, it works.
We were able to delete 70% of the bad credit, and I'm happy.
Look at our little boy. I have to keep showing you those because we have so many. I just got to get you past the point of being a skeptic. All right, let's get into it. We've already talked about that.
Every organization has inaccurate information in the credit reports.
We're very thorough in the initial consultation.
We found out that 79% of everyone in all 3 bureaus had errors in the credit report.
We were able to delete 70% of Get that credit.
Okay, we have an 80+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. We're accredited.
I've never experienced this such a great customer service that they have.
This is so easy that a child would do it.
It was on 580, now you got a 720.
Also, this now allows us to buy a home.
I'm 57 years old. Was able to refinance our house, saving about $600 a month.
I was skeptical, but my wife is also skeptical.
And my score is almost 700.
I would recommend Vivix to anyone.
100% of my credit's been fixed, and I'm gonna buy a house. My score went up around 200, almost 250 points.
And where would I want now? Buy a car or buy a new condo?
Maybe it was so everything.
We review your credit, reveal the solution, and reverse the curse of bad credit.
All right, you have the right to work on your credit yourself. That's your consumer credit file rights. So I'm going to teach you how to do it yourself. Okay, but if any company that you're working with do not tell you, they do not tell you that you have the right to do it yourself, that's a violation of your federal rights, okay? This is the actual law, all of it, right there, okay? Your consumer credit file rights. Now let's talk about it. There's only 3 steps. You gotta know how to review your report to find the errors. Reveal a solution, the dispute strategy, and then reverse the curse. That's it. It's 3 steps. Okay? Let's go over it. We already talked about the Fair Credit Reporting Act and the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. Inaccurate information, questionable information, unverifiable information, obsolete. That's it. That's all you dispute under. Don't dispute under anything else. Those 4 dispute solutions. Now guess what? I'm going to tell you where to find this. The U.S. Code 1681. U.S. Code 1681. That is the only place you need to learn to dispute anything on your credit. If you study that, you can become a credit expert. All right? It goes, I believe, from A to Z. Let's just say A to Z, okay? Because I'm not an attorney. All right? But on every dispute letter, let's say 95% of it, you're citing the code from 1681. I just gave you, okay? If you don't remember anything else I told you, that's it. Okay? That was worth you showing up today. All right? Now I'm going to give you one that no one else will give you. You can fix your credit in 15 days. If you know. I'm sorry. Yeah. You're getting excited now. Look. Yeah, you're getting excited now. You can fix your credit in 15 days if you know how to file a Consumer Financial Protection Bureau complaint. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau was created in 2011. They are the watchdogs over the credit bureaus. They were created to combat all of the Attorney General's complaints and all of the citizens in all the different states' complaints about the credit bureaus breaking the FTC, breaking the federal law, not responding, hiring people all over the world. No one has any authority to do anything. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, if you have problems with credit card companies, insurance companies, payday loans, banks, they make them respond in 15 days or less. And then they publicize the banks and the companies that have been mishandling the consumers. Okay, so they embarrass them publicly. That is a jewel. That, the CFPB and US Code 1681. That's all you need to worry about. You don't have to go on a blog, you don't have to do nothing else. All right? Now let's just look at the credit reports. The first thing you must do to get your disputes removed from the hands of general laborers and into someone's hand that can actually, or is responsible for looking at the documentation, is you must put what on your report? Fraud alert, okay? Fraud alert, security alert. Do that first. Then you must send them updated personal information, which is your driver's license, your social security card, and a utility bill. All right? But the first thing you want to say, please do. The first thing you want to say on the report is you're adding, on that letter, is you're adding a security alert. That's the first statement. Please add a security alert to my file. Now, what else does a security alert do for you? It blocks your file from the collection companies that you're disputing. Because you have to update your information with the driver's license, social security card, proof of your address, because the credit bureaus will not send you the investigation results if they can't verify who you are. But the trick is they use that to give that information to the collection company, so when you dispute the collection company, they give them your information by allowing them to pull your credit report, and then the collection company use your updated information against you. I just gave it to you. So when you put that referral alert on the file first, the collection company can't do what? They can't pull the file. And the credit bureau can't tell them. Okay? So when they go to pull the file, it comes up blocked. So they so they got to use that old information that they bought from Bank of America, and then Bank of America sold it to a collection agency, and another collection agency sold it to them. Now they got to use that old information they have on file. You've moved. Your phone number's changed, right? And did you know your name should be in the order on your social security card? That's the order it should be on your credit report. My name is Gabriel Eric Brown. If they send me a bill for Eric Brown Gabriel, who is that? Who is that? That's not me. That's not me. That's inaccurate. That's not me. Okay? If the police kick in a door with a warrant with my name on it, and the address is 609, but they kicked in the wrong door, but they got the right person, the address on the warrant says 607, which is next door, a good attorney will get that thrown out. As long as you didn't go and, you know, do your first 48 and start telling on everybody and crying after you done. You know, as long as you don't get yourself in trouble. As long as you don't prosecute yourself. All right, so fraud alert first, security alert or fraud alert, whichever you want to call it. Then update your personal information. And then they're required to send you a consumer report in 10 to 14 days. The consumer report is really good because it goes through your entire credit file from the time that you had credit. So it's not a bad report, okay? And the consumer report, if you're going to dispute something, I'm going to give you something else, write this down. Put the report number that's on your consumer report in your dispute, because it references the fact that you're disputing what's on their report. If you don't put that, they're going to say, frivolous, we don't know where this information came from. But if you add the report number on Experience Credit Report or Equifax Credit Reports, if you add their report number or TransUnion's report number onto your dispute, you're saying, this is my reference to what you gave me. I'm disputing to the information that you gave me. Okay? All right? I just gave you another one. I ain't gonna give you but so many more. Okay? And you got to know how to read this report. John Doe. Okay? If it said Doe John, you dispute. I'm not Doe John. That's not me. Oh, let me give you one more. I'm feeling really good today. A collection company calls you. What do you say? Hello, this is Argonne Collection. What's your first name? Tiffany. May I speak to Tiffany? What do you say? Argonne Collection, this is John. Tiffany, I have a bill here for you for $13,000, and I know you owe it, and you know how they talk to you, and I know you owe it. I want to know, what's your social security number? What do you say?
What is the collection regarding?
You was over. You were over at the culinary school trying to get a degree to be a chef, and you quit, but you still owe the $13,000.
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, all right, that ain't bad. That ain't bad. This is what you want to tell them. This is what you want to tell them. Hello, am I speaking to Tiffany? You do just what your mother said. Who's calling? You don't say, this is Tiffany. Who's calling? Argonne Collection. Oh, Argonne Collection. Okay, how can I help you? I'm calling for Tiffany. What Tiffany? What Tiffany? What do you mean, what Tiffany? I'm saying, what Tiffany? Tiffany who? There's a lot of Tiffany's. I can Google Tiffany right now. I can go to Facebook right now. There's a lot of Tiffany's. Which Tiffany are you looking for? Tiffany Brown. Okay? Are you Tiffany Brown? Yes, I am a Tiffany Brown. But I'm not the Tiffany Brown that has a relationship with Argonne Collection. There's 272 Tiffany Browns on Facebook. Which one are you looking for? Right? See, that's a little different handle, right? So now they got to prove that you are the Tiffany Brown that they need to speak to. Well, are you Tiffany Brown, born on whatever date? I don't have a relationship with Argonne Collection. I'm not going to validate or verify who I am. You need to verify what relationship you have with a Tiffany Brown, but I don't believe I'm that Tiffany Brown. And then while you're doing that, I have one thing also to ask of you. Mail me whatever you think I have an obligation to pay you to the address that you have on file, to the Tiffany Brown that you're looking for. And while you're doing that, mail me a copy of your license to do business in this state. I'm told by law, if I ask for this, you have to supply it. Did you know that 75 or more % of these companies don't have licenses in the state that they're trying to collect from? And you're on the phone paying debts and sending it all the way to Ohio, all the way to Utah, all the way to Virginia. And they don't have proper license to do business in this state. Do you know if you find out that they don't and they don't prove it, that they do, they can't collect from you if they don't. Okay? And you can get that as a violation. And you call your attorney general and you can get them shut down. All right? So make sure that your name is correct. Make sure the address is correct. Make sure your date of birth, your social, marital status, okay, employer. Make sure all of that information is correct on your credit report for you. So when you go to apply, you're not being declined because your information does not match the credit report. Doe John is not John Doe. Okay? You got to make sure if your date of birth or social is wrong, you have contaminated your file. You'll have more than one file. If you have two socials, if someone that's pulling your credit transposes one number in your social, you'll end up having two files because you now have two socials. So you need to make sure you update your information even if you're not applying for credit. Okay? You want to have your income there. Okay? And you want to try to go 2 employers deep. And if you're married or if you have a co-applicant, make sure that they update all their information too, because you don't want to be declined because your co-applicant's information is not good enough to carry with you. All right? Date reported, move-in date, move-out date, length of time, rent. Some of this information is not on credit reports anymore. This is an antiquated, report, but I like it because it's simple. Okay? It's simple, right? And you'll have 2 addresses deep. Okay, your former address and your current address, and that's good. That's what employers, or what creditors ask for. Anyone know what EFX stands for? EFX in the corner. Equifax, correct. XPN. TU, TransUnion. You got to know how to read, who's reporting what about you, because you'll have tri-merge reports, and there'll be Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, and they'll have their little abbreviated titles there. Okay, you need to know who's reporting what. All right, these are the 2 types of lines, the most widely used types of lines that you'll find on your credit report. Revolving, in many cases, let's say an R next to that account for a revolving account, and then you have an installment account. Okay, the installment accounts have a set interest rate, a set date that it will be paid off. The revolving accounts can have up and down interest rates. Okay, because they can change those credit card rates when they want, and they have no end date. You can pay it off by making minimal payments for 20 years if you want to. All right? But they're revolving accounts because they have no set date to be paid off. They have set payment dates, but not paid off dates. Okay? Now, this is a trade information. Wachovia, I don't think they're in business anymore, but I had a Wachovia card, so I like this report. The creditor's name and account number. So you see Wachovia and your account number. Chase, your account number. A&B Bank, your account number. All right, date reported, okay? That's the first date of activity. Date of last activity, all right? September 9th, that's where the statute of limitations starts. Your date of last activity. So if the statute for that state is 7 years, from that DLA time, that's how long that account should stay on your report if it's negative or positive from that date. All right, so that is important to know. Date opened, April 2008. The month is always in front of the year. High credit. So the high credit is how high you've had the actual balance. And then the credit limit is 9,000. So 1243 is as high as you've had that, okay? And 9,000 is your limit. Balance owing, how much you owe now. REV, this is an old credit report, but that means revolving. 20 months revolving, that's how long you've been making payments on whatever that balance is, okay? And then the current status, 01 is always implicating that you have paid on time in most cases, but there's some other cases where a 1 would mean you're 30 days late, and a 2 would mean you're 60 days late. So you gotta know, all right? That account's had 17 months reported, 16, 52, 16, and 9 months. All right, historical status, time past due. Now, if that under that 30, if that was a 1 there, that means you're 30 days past due. Okay? If it was a 2 there, that means you've been 30 days past due twice. If it was a 3 there, it means you've been 30 days past due 3 times. If you have a 1 under 60, same thing, 60 days. 1 under 90, 90 days. Okay? All right? That's just basics. Public records. Anything that you had to go to court for is a public record. Tax lien, bankruptcy, foreclosure, judgments, okay? Child support. These are public records, okay? Normally they stay on your reports from 7 to 10 years, okay? But again, check this statute for the state. But federal is 7 to 10 years. All right? Now, inquiries. How long should an inquiry sit on your credit report? We're almost done.
2 years.
2 years? Who told you? Who told you that?
I read it somewhere.
You read it up there? Where do you see it up there?
No, I read it somewhere. I seen it somewhere. 2 years.
2 years? Okay. Says up there, read it, Ms. Tiffany. What does it say up there? They can stay on your credit report? For what? What does that mean?
It could be between.
There you go. There you go. See, you waiting on them to fall off in 2 years. They up to 2 years. If I tell you, meet me at the house, I'm going to give you up to $10 to drive me where I need to go. And then you get me there and I give you $2. Okay?
You gotta go to work, she's gonna stay.
Okay. I just got about 5 more minutes. What time you got to leave?
Oh, shit, 30 minutes to get there.
You got 5 more minutes? Because I want to give you all these gifts. 5 more minutes, and then you can, I don't want you to be late to work. I'm going to speed up. Okay, up to 2 years. Okay, so all your inquiries will be in the section for inquiries. Alerts, check your alerts. Safe scan, these are government scans that if you are considered a terrorist or you've had some issues with your socials and somebody's been trying to use your socials, that will show up on the safe scan. So make sure under safe scan that there's nothing up there that should alarm you. Okay, and look, TransUnion says they use what? FICO 8. So you got to know which FICO is being used too. All right? Now you know about the credit scores. They go from 300 to 850, yes or no? And then you know TransUnion, no one follows the 501 to 990. Okay? No one follows that. Beacon is still popular at car dealerships, but FICO is used by 95% of the banks. Know what your FICO is. Don't go over to TransUnion and say, oh, I got an 880. And then you go try buy a house with this young lady over here, and she said you got a 550. That 501 to 990 is not the score. You need to be looking at FICO. Okay? This is how it breaks down. 35% of your score is payment history. Pay on time. If you miss one payment and you have a 700 score, your score will drop down almost to 610, 630 for one payment. Okay? You can have a bankruptcy and lose about the same amount of points as a late payment. 30% of your score is how much you owe. Okay? 30%. So keep your balances low. There's 2 rules you must follow. Credit usage rule. Only use 20% of the total number of accounts you have. If you have 10 accounts, only use 2. Credit capacity, excuse me, that's the credit capacity rule. use 20% of the accounts you have. Credit usage is use 20% of your limit. Never go over 20%. They'll tell you it's 30. You won't get an 800 using 30. Okay? You get 800 using 20. 15% of your score is the length of history. Never close accounts. 10% of your score is new credit. You got to get in the game and get new accounts. And then another 10% is you got to have a variety of accounts. You can't have all revolving accounts. You got to have some installments, some revolving, and then it makes it really look good if you have a mortgage. Okay? Almost done. This is the dispute strategy. We can remove and have removed, but I must say potentially, virtually all of these: bankruptcy, foreclosure, tax and judgment, all the way through check systems, early warning system, identity theft, repossessions, anything that you see there, we have proof that we've removed it, okay? Now, this is what I wanted this gentleman to see before he leaves. These are the codes for experiment, all right? OK means you're current. 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180, that's late. CRD, creditor received deed. FS, foreclosure, okay, proceeding started, and F, foreclosure. You will see VS for voluntary surrender, R for repossession, PBC for paid by creditor, IC, insurance claim, G, claim filed with government, D, default, C, collection, CO, charge off, C, LS, close, ND, no data. I have these in your packets. You must know these. All right, if you can't read your report, you won't know how to dispute it. That's TransUnion's there. And look at Equifax, it's completely different than TransUnion's. See the codes there for TransUnion? Look at Equifax. They use single digit. Okay? That's the hardest one to figure out. If you get any reports, the hardest one to read is Equifax. Here's your statute of limitations. Do you see that some of the states are 3 years? Why are you telling everyone that it's 7 to 10 years on everyone? It's in your packet. It's in your packet, okay? Some of the states are 3 years. Okay? You're running around saying 7 to 10, that's federal. Okay, it's inside your packet there. All right, reverse the curse of bad credit. This is one of the reasons you have the benefits of having good credit. More family time. Benefits of good credit. Dream home. That's my house. I'm proud of that. That's my living room. I have 3 now. Yeah, and that's heated and all. When I brought my mama home for the first time to celebrate my house, she was afraid. She got to the door. The doors are like 15 feet tall. She got to the door and I opened it. They both opened. And I told her, come on in, Mama. And she got into the threshold and she stopped. And she wouldn't move. And I said, Mama, this is where I live. This is where we stay. You know, I got you your room and everything. And she was like, hey, what's going on? I said, everything legal. I really didn't. I didn't do nothing wrong. I didn't do nothing wrong. She was like, and she stayed up most of the night, rocking, because she said there's too many windows. Because the whole back of my house is all glass. I can push all the doors open for the entire back of the house, and that takes you to the pool. And she didn't want to sleep. She said there's too much glass. People can see. Dubai. I just came back from Dubai in November. That's one of the benefits of having credit. You can fly anywhere you want. Okay, see things that you want to see. Benefits of good credit. Get yourself a couple cars. Okay? I got my cars back. Okay? That's me looking sharp. Another benefit, you get a chance to finance your baby's school. My daughter and her mother didn't get along. She got a full scholarship, but she didn't get the room and board. And I guess when the girls get a certain age, they don't get along anymore. And so my daughter asked me if she could move 15 miles away to stay on campus. Her mother lived in Virginia. She went to Howard University. It was only a 15-minute drive, and I had to pay $6,000 a semester for her to stay on campus. And I paid it on my Navy Federal Credit Union credit card. And that's her graduating from Howard, double major. She didn't want to use the mass communication and English major. She ended up saying somebody told her she was cute. And she said, you know, I had worked with models and I needed to work with her. So I had to give her my American Express for her to try to be a model. She did good for a little while. I'm glad that fell off her. This is her convincing my mama in Florida that they needed to fly to Florida and go to Disneyland before my mama went to see God. and she's still here, but she told my mama she needed to see Mickey and you know those characters. She needed to see all those. So that's them in a villa in Florida that I paid for my American Express. Now, we're almost done. This is it. Last slide. This is the key to credit. If you're not using the 10X rule, you're missing the American dream. Credit, you're supposed to have 10 times your annual income in credit. And what that means is if you make $50,000, you're supposed to have $500,000 in credit. Because I make close to, well, I'll give you the reverse. I have $1 million in credit cards. Okay? So that's my return. All right? If things went bad and, you know, the bank shut down like people are claiming the banks are going to shut down and it's going to be like Spain or wherever you're only going to be to get $30 a day out, well, I got some credit cards. Hopefully they don't shut those down. And I'm very happy that I'm able to use my credit, but I'm using it right. So don't think credit is bad like I believe. Get 10 times your annual income in credit. I got the same for my daughter. Okay, get it for yourself. All right, and what you have in your package is a cease and desist. You're good. You have the cease and desist letter, the personal information update, the statute of limitations, the identity theft affidavit, the collection call log, and creating new clients for life. You're going to get the book. The collection call log, this is the reason I wanted you to wait, is that we have an attorney that if you're getting collection calls from collection companies that you did not give your cell phone number and somehow they found you through skip tracing, they're violating your federal rights. And for every call, you can make $500 to $1,000 with this attorney that we have that will take the case pro bono. All you have to do is write down the calls in the call log there, what time they came in, and who asked for you, like Ms. Tiffany said, and then hang up. If you get 15 in there, he'll take the case, and he's settling on an average between $500 and $1,000 per call.